We're going to talk about the incredibly long road from pre-production to production to post-production. So obviously in 30 minutes we're going to cover a lot of ground. It is a long road. I've worked on docs where it's 10 years in the making or more. That's a lot of time to make a lot of mistakes. So we're going to help you mitigate some of those problems. All right, so who am I? Well, I'm a re-recording mixer. I'm a supervising sound editor. 20 plus years doing sound. In fact, that's the way I used to look when there was something called film and I was cutting film. Docs are often run and gun, and you catch things on the fly. But that's mostly not what happens in a doc. Mostly you go interview somebody and you know where you're going to interview them. It could be a noisy location out in a park with cars and wind and water fountains. And, could be inside their home and they have computers with fans. It could be air conditioning, refrigerators. These are all known entities. And so why does every doc I do have all these amazing noise issues?
Because you can fix them all.
No. Audio is never thought of. Everything is about the picture. It's not about the audio. So when they scout a location, they don't scout a location and listen. They scout a location and they look. And they say, that's the shot I want. And it doesn't matter that there's a garbage truck dump next to it, because they haven't hired a location recordist to go out and shoot with them. Because why would you hire the location recordist to go out on a scout? I mean, that's what DPs do. Anything that you choose to do can be fixed, right? It always comes down to money and time, which a documentarian in particular never has either money or time. And so pre-production is really key. You know, I've done so many talking head documentaries where they're sitting next to a computer and they're pointing the microphone toward the computer. And really, the only reason that's happening is because nobody is there to listen. Nobody is putting on a pair of cans and saying, oh, somebody might put on a pair of headphones to verify that they're hearing something through them. Oh yeah, I hear them, cool. But sound people know how to listen. Making a doc is so much different than making a feature in the sense that if you're shooting a narrative feature, you know you're going to cut this scene together. You know you're going to shoot a wide, and you're going to shoot a medium, and you're going to shoot a close-up. Now, when you shoot it, you may not at that moment know how you're going to cut it together, but you're going to know that you will cut it together. In a documentary, you could be shooting an interview, and let's say you shoot it in a park, and it's a very noisy park. There's a lot of cars and all the rest of it, airplanes overhead. But you're doing it in one sort of continuous take that might be 18 minutes long or 20 minutes long or whatever. You're not thinking about the editing of it. And you may not get to the editing of it until 2 years later, 3 years later. And then all of a sudden when you start cutting it together and you realize, oh, halfway through that line, because now I'm cutting to B-roll and I want him to say this, the airplane cuts off, or the car cuts off, or the air conditioner is no longer running. So what do I have to do? How do I make all of those cuts work? I add noise back in. I add the airplane back in. I add the car back in. I add the air conditioner back in. So often, you know, the conversations that I have with people are, how can you fix this? I don't know if that happens with DPs. I think it's like, hey man, let's get creative. What's the shot? But for me, it's always like, dude, it's a mess. How can we fix this? A lot of documentarians are a one-man band. They got a camera, they have a mic, and they just want to get this thing shot. You know, and it's cool. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm never one to judge my clients. because anything can be fixed, but it comes back to how much money do you have and how much time do you have and what compromises are you willing to make? You blew those takes, they're distorted. You blew those takes, they're not loud enough. Are you willing to live with subtitles? Because you're going to have to do that now. And I always ask them when I hear these audio issues, what camera did you use? Oh, dude, I shot with the Red Dragon and I had the thing, and oh yeah, and we shot it like this, but we were going to do 23.98, but then we decided that, you know, because the fold down, and you know, whatever. And I'm like, what microphone did you use? Not sure. So, Woody, what's the best mic that I can buy? And I say, for what and what day? Because no DP has one lens. You have a 50 millimeter, you have a zoom, you have a wide, you have a fast lens, you have a slow lens. Audio is no different. Every microphone is not the same. There's a reason why one microphone's $50 and another microphone is $2,000. Same thing with the recorder. One of the key elements of the recorder is a microphone preamplifier. A microphone level is a very low level, and you have to boost that gain. And the microphone preamplifier determines the quality of that gain. Is it a noisy gain? Is it a cheap recorder? And the higher you bring up the gain, the more hiss and the more noise you get. Or is it a quality recorder like a sound devices, where you get a lot of hot gain, it's very clean. You know, and it's a weird set of equations. You could have a really good recorder and a cheap mic and have a better recording than a $2,000 mic and a crappy recorder. So it's something to think about. You can't afford an expensive recorder, go rent one. You're gonna rent your lenses, right? There's long shotguns, there's short shotguns, and there's medium shotguns. The polar pattern, how does it pick up sound? Is it omnidirectional, so it picks up sound from all sides? Is it cardioid, so it picks up sound in a front pattern? Is it hypercardioid, so it picks up an even tighter? All of these things are really key. A lot of people just buy a mic. What's a good mic? Get a good mic. I don't know, man. What are you shooting? You know, it's like if you're in a really dark room, you're not going to use a really slow lens, right? You're going to use a fast lens. You need to know how to listen. You know, somebody hires Uncle Joe to do the boom because, you know, it's just the boom. Anybody can do that, right? So Uncle Joe's doing that through every scene. Because holding a boom is a pain in the ass. It's hard and it gets heavy. And you need to know what to listen for. The DP knows how to be in focus, right? If you have a DP and every shot is out of focus, you got a problem. But I can't tell you how many times people come to me with all kinds of audio issues that we have to fix. There's got to be a way to fix this, right, Woody? And I'm like, yeah, we can mitigate some of these things. But it's a compromise. Spend as much time and money on your audio as you do on your picture, right? Know your audio gear the same way you know your camera gear. And choose your locations to minimize intrusions of sound. Use good gear. Use quality microphones. Use a good recorder. Wear good headphones. Use professionals. Take the time to set up your audio. You know, I've been on sets a million times in my life where you know, there's a weird glare coming in through the window, so we got to set up a C-stand and we got to flag that, and then it's like, oh, you know what, the color temperature is not right because we have tungsten and we have daylight, so let's put gels over the window, and we're doing all this stuff, and nobody put on a pair of headphones to go, oh crap, there's a refrigerator somewhere, and you can fix that, right, Woody? Probably more than anything else, more than the gear, more than the microphone, more than the recorder, is where you put that mic. You know, I have a book, it's a college textbook, it's sort of an audio 101 book. And the publisher said you need to include a CD. So I was thinking, what would be useful? Because I'm not going to put backgrounds or sound effects or anything. What's useful to somebody who's learning about sound? So I did a properly recorded voice, and then I did 10 feet away, then I did 20 feet away. I did recording it from the back of the boom, because I wanted somebody to listen to it and go, oh, that's what it sounds like when you don't get the mic in the right place. So they would learn, that's wrong, I gotta fix that right away. I've had shows where they owned up to the fact that nobody was wearing headphones. Can you imagine a DP who doesn't look at a monitor? Shooting your film, shooting your documentary, but yeah, I don't look at monitors, you know? I just look at that little viewfinder thing. I mean, it's close, right? It's insane. You know, you're spending your time, you're spending your money, and sometimes you get lightning in a bottle. Sometimes you get something really important. DSLRs don't have metering. They don't have headphone jack, right? People are out shooting feature films with their 7D or their 5D, and they're not even listening because there's nothing to plug it into. How are they tweaking those meters on that fancy microphone preamp in that 7D? Right? I shoot everything with my 7D, so I feel like I can get away with that. Every cameraman I know uses a tripod. They use C-stands for their lights, but nobody uses a mic stand. I've done talking head documentaries where they have somebody with a boom doing the Uncle Joe thing. You know, and of course there's fingers on that boom pole making all kinds of noise. And you know, if you watch 60 Minutes or any of those shows, you see them clearly. They have it set up with lights and they have a mic pointed at the person. Just make your life easy. Use stands, plant a mic. Don't mount a short shotgun on your camera and assume that that's your audio for the show. One of the key things that is really important when you get to post-production is the B-roll audio. Everybody always thinks about the B-roll shots, but they don't think about the B-roll audio. You're in so many cool locations. There's so many great sounds around you. And it doesn't have to be a great sound. It could be a construction site. It could be a fountain. It could be birds. It could be the beach, whatever. Record all that stuff. Shoot B-roll audio. I mean, I've done horror movies where people tell me, oh my God, the sound of that place, it was so creepy, man, and the floors creaked, and every time you sat in the chair, and this bird would like whip through, and the shutters would bang, and it was so cool, man. Can you do that? Like, how much time and how much money do you have for me to do that for you? When you could have just stuck the mic out there and recorded it. But it becomes, again, it's about the picture. It's never about the sound. It's not often about the sound, unless you're a very experienced filmmaker. And I know a lot of you are. Noise reduction is an amazing thing. That's usually the first problem that people come to me with. You know, I recorded this woman, and I recorded this over a period of months. And sometimes the air conditioning's on, and sometimes the air conditioning's not on. Can you fix that? Can you remove those sounds? We did the whole thing in a kitchen, and the sound of the refrigerators are overwhelming. Can you remove that? And you know, you can, and you know, and you can really try and clean these things out. And I noticed with a lot of younger sound people that they really try to push that. But you know, life is noisy. And you're in a kitchen, you hear refrigerators. So you want to mitigate it. You want to minimize that. But when you overdo it and you clean it too much, it doesn't sound right. You just suck the life out of the emotional quality of a person. And I hear it a lot on television where stuff is just so overprocessed that it's almost robotic or metallic. And it's kind of bugs me. I mean, it's not a choice that I would have made necessarily, because I think, you know, life is noisy. It's okay to have a little noise. You mix most things, and certainly a dock, so that the dialogue is in the center channel. And you know, the reason they came up with LCR or center channel is so if you're sitting on the left of the theater or you're sitting on the right of the theater, it doesn't matter, you're going to hear that audio from the center. And so, you know, we mix dialogue center. We can mix walla and all kinds of other things in all the surrounds. But if you have essentially a documentary that is just a talking head, the audio is coming out of the middle. Well, I've got 5 other speakers that I've got to deal with. So it becomes an interesting challenge of what I'm going to fill all of that, all of those tracks with. The truth is that 99% of what we listen to is in stereo. Whether it's on our phone, whether it's on our laptop, whether it's on our television set. You know, just out of curiosity, how many people here have a surround home system? All right, so maybe 10% of you. How many of you listen all the time in surround? So half of that. And do you feel like your surround system is properly calibrated? Meaning the speakers are in the ideal places that they suggest? Right. Yeah, because you have windows, and you have doors, and you have closets. It's really hard to do in a house, right? So you really want to make sure when you're doing your 5.1 that you're doing an amazing stereo mixdown. And so I am always swapping between my speakers. I'm always swapping between my 5.1. I don't do this with my clients, by the way, because if you don't know what you're listening to, it becomes really weird, because stereo is a phantom center, right? We make the center in our brain. There really is no center. And then when you go to 5.1, there really is a center. So when you swap back and forth, it's kind of jarring. So I try not to ever do that for my clients. But I always will, once I feel confident that the 5.1 is where I want it to be, then I go back and I listen to the stereo through the Orotones or through the television or through something really dumbed down, because that's really how people are going to watch it. I mean, it's amazing. At the exact same time that they developed 24-bit 192 kilohertz audio, which is beyond the realm of human hearing, they also developed the MP3. Which one took off? Now, actually, the MP3 is dead now, but that's another story. Finally, of course, stemming out that mix is what's going to happen when you sell it. So you can have a great sounding mix in 5.1, in 7.1, in 11.1, in stereo, but that's not going to be what's required of you when you sell it. You're going to need a dialogue-only track. You're going to need a music-only track. You're going to need a music and effects track, an effects-only track. And all of those will have their own set of loudness requirements. Everybody kicks everything as far down the road as they can, but sooner or later, they're going to get into the bay, and sooner or later, they're going to say, God, is that the best you can make it sound? You know, like somehow I screwed the whole thing up. Room tone, B-roll audio, don't leave a set without it. All right, thank you so much.